You are listening to Did You Hear?
Did you hear?
The Johnson County Library Podcast.
We are coming to you
from the Central Resource Library
in Overland Park, Kansas.
This is your Library Insider.
In this episode of Did You Hear, we discuss the weird, wacky, and sometimes wonderful things we find in the book drop. Melissa and Dave host our librarians Chris Carleton, Austin Johnson, and Laura Hunt, who share their most fabulous and freaky finds, including many things used as a bookmark. But first, our weekly word.
Repugnant, extremely distasteful, unacceptable.
A piece of notebook paper with a photograph of two women taped to it and something written in Russian on it. A Korean War supply list for a company of soldiers. Lots of fake $100 bills with Al Gore pictured on them. What do these items have in common with one another?
I can't even guess, Dave. What do those items have in common with each other?
This is a list of things that librarians have found in their return bins across this great country of ours. Do you know what today's topic is?
I'm guessing that today's topic might be the weird things and the wonderful things that we've come across in our returns bin, too.
Ding, 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 ding. Return finds. So we'll come back to this list because there's a lot of really interesting things that librarians throughout the country have found. We have also sent out an email to all the clerks in our system at all the different branches, and they've sent some interesting items. But we also have some folks that are here live in person, so why don't we get to the introductions? To my right?
Hi there, I'm Chris Carleton. I work in IT here at the library, and I've been here for 17 years as a page clerk, a cool SWAT clerk position for a summer, technology trainer, and circulation supervisor. So I've been just about everything but running the whole show.
You kind of do. You keep everything up and running for us, and we deeply appreciate it.
I try to.
And how about you over there across from me?
Hi, I'm Austin Johnson. I was a clerk here for a while. I used to work for Chris.
Gross.
He is a weird boss. And currently I am an interlibrary loan clerk where I get the weird stuff from other libraries.
Like big fake ears.
Fake ears,
That was a
cake
good one.
pans, sticks.
And how about you, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Laura Hunt. I am the branch manager here at Central. I don't directly get a lot of the weird stuff, but I have seen it come in.
And sometimes we just throw it to you and then run away.
That is exactly right.
Yeah. That's pretty much your job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the reasons we have this podcast is because we have an amazing staff. I mean, the fact that we've got bright, interesting, articulate librarians and other staff members, our clerks and our pages, put them in front of microphones and share their knowledge.
I was going to say, we should get those people really on the podcast.
Yeah, we should. They're here. Melissa.
Oh yeah. Hi, guys.
So, these items that I listed off earlier, have you come across items like that in our return bins here at Johnson County Library?
Yeah, Chris, what's the weirdest thing that you remember seeing come across your desk?
The weirdest and the most funnest, I think, because the entire staff got a kick out of it, was we had a patron who was having difficulty getting an audiobook out of his car. He had all the sets, but one disc was stuck in his car stereo.
Oh, no.
Poor dude. And we have to charge a replacement cost because we purchased this stuff with taxpayer dollars. And so if something gets lost or stolen, we want that money back. So we're going to have to charge this guy, poor dude, I think it was like $90 for an audiobook.
Oh, no.
He was so upset about it. And we were upset because we didn't want to do it, but what is what is. And so he brought in his car stereo with the last disc in it.
That's a dedicated patron.
And so he's like, I'm selling the car. I don't need the car stereo anymore. You guys have the complete set. Would you please take it off my account? And
did you?
Oh, we did. Because
you kind of have to at that point.
Yeah, the
That's some
makerspace
effort.
was just coming up, and I go, they turned it in Gardner, and if they didn't get it, if they couldn't take it apart and get the disc out, we told them to send everything up to the makerspace, and we'll let them take it apart.
Yeah. Well, so did they?
Get that disc out, so yeah.
So what happened? Did you eventually get the disc out
Oh
of
yeah,
it?
we got the disc out.
Did you
We
return
tested
the
it,
stereo
made sure
back
it
to the
played.
guy?
We did not return the stereo because he did not ask for it back.
Okay. All right.
But it was fun. We had a laugh about it. The patron himself had a laugh about it because he understand the predicament we were in. We understand the predicament he was in. It was very funny mutual situation.
Yes, that's a great
With a happy
ending.
ending.
What about you, Laura? What's the strangest thing that you remember seeing?
Well, one time at Leawood, we had a stuffed snake returned in our book drop.
Oh my
so we
gosh.
opened up the book drop door, and inside we see something that looks like a creature, and it turned out it was just a fuzzy red stuffed snake. So that's
like
out
a
on my
stuffed
desk.
animal or a
Yeah.
taxidermied
No,
snake?
like
Yeah,
a stuffed animal.
The taxidermy would be creepy.
No, it was cuter than taxidermy. It was just a cute, and that sat on my desk for quite
Still
a while.
a little odd, though.
Yeah, it was a little strange.
But you take cute over creepy most times.
Yeah, I don't know if
think.
the person was
Definitely.
trying to be creepy. Maybe they were just trying to give a gift. I don't know.
Or maybe it was something that they checked out from another system and thought that they could return
Yeah,
to
maybe
us.
they just
Yeah,
thought
that
it legitimately
happens
would
sometimes,
come
too.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about you, Austin?
Probably the strangest thing I've found in the book return was a rice cooker in a box.
What?
Yeah, this was when I was at Oak Park when they had that really, really big book drop that you could fit anything through.
Right.
I think it was with a bunch of other donated books, so I think someone was cleaning house and just got some of their Goodwill stuff mixed up with that, and they returned a rice cooker to the library.
Do they still use it?
I mean,
Or did we use it? Or are they cooking the rice over at Oak Park still?
no, I think they still are. I mean,
We could
I know
really
that-
up our potlucks if we had a rice cooker.
they never throw anything away at Oak Park, so I'd not be surprised if they still have it.
Nice.
Okay, well, I'm going to go back to this list from National Librarian.
Good, because I need a minute to pick my jaw up off the floor after the rice cooker. That's
Yeah, that's
that one's got me.
You just tell me yes or no if we have come across any of these. And if you have any thoughts or reactions to some of these too, please share it because I think they're pretty interesting. And some of them are pretty typical. Some of them are pretty out there.
Bring it.
So let's go back to the lots of fake $100 bills with Al Gore's picture on them.
That's awesome.
I don't know,
That is trolling
That,
on
you
a
know-
level that I can't even comprehend.
You would be so excited that you found a bunch of $100 bills only to realize,
yeah,
no.
it's only useful in Tennessee. Of course, sweaters and jackets, probably other clothes. Have you come across other items like
Socks.
that?
Oh yeah, lots of times we find like especially mittens from the drive-through
Yeah.
book drop where people are just trying to turn their stuff in, and it's just
Is there a happy ending to that? Does that end up being donated to somebody to put to good use?
Yes, actually, we hold on to stuff for 2 weeks if anybody wants to come and claim it. And if they don't come and claim it, we usually drop it off at one of the location donation centers. And to treat everybody fairly, we kind of bounce it around between Christian charities, Savers, Goodwill, because we don't want to pick on any one charity. But its stuff gets used. If it's stuff like water bottles and stuff, we'll probably pitch it just for sanitary reasons. But if it's definitely clothes or other devices, we can do that.
Okay, so here's an interesting one. A full set of false teeth.
Ooh.
Yes, we have gotten a tooth.
Are you serious?
I
Oh
am
my
dead
gosh.
serious.
A tooth?
We got a kick out of
A
it.
tooth.
A tooth. And we got a kick out of it because when we get material back and we need to match it up with parts and pieces, we put a note on the item's record that says patron not attached. So when this tooth came in, me being the playful sort that I am, we put it on a note card and taped it up to one of our walls where we keep all the classic library cards we have up front. And we said found in book drop, no patron attached.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder what book drop the rest of the patron was in.
Let's not find out.
No.
Oh
no.
my gosh, that is funny. Several people have mentioned money that has been returned, especially in books used as bookmarks.
Yep.
And checks,
All the
too, that
time.
happens.
Yes.
Checks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What do we do with those when they come back, Laura?
So for money, we'll put it in the safe in case somebody comes to claim it. We can look up who had the book last. So there are times where we can actually track down the patron and call and say, hey, did you forget something in your book? And if we do have a patron's name, like if it was on the check, we could look up their account, find their name, call them, and let them know that it's there. And then we'll just keep it safe for them until they're able to come pick it up.
Like with the cash, if nobody ever comes to claim it, what happens?
Well, I get some lunch. No, I'm just kidding.
Laura!
No.
I think we need to call that hotline.
No, actually, so what happens if nobody picks up the cash is that it gets donated to the foundation. So it does come back to the library.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, VHS tapes, and I'm sure that this is kind of represents all kinds of different materials that maybe people are trying to donate to the library.
Yes, that is possible.
Yeah.
And I think
We
our
just don't
public
know.
service announcement would be, that's nice, but that's not how we prefer you to do it. We do have donation bins inside the library. If you have more than will fit into our donation boxes, contact a librarian. We will make special arrangements.
We're also, unfortunately, in the 21st century, and so VHS isn't really that useful anymore.
That is true. The Friends won't take VHS anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that they just plain can't take it.
No, they won't take them. It's pretty
Yeah, it
sad. But
doesn't
what's too bad about dropping donations in the book drop is we don't know if somebody's purposefully trying to give us something or if it's just a
If
mistake.
it's an accident, yeah.
And so then we're like,
yeah.
okay, we better keep it just in case someone comes for it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and we get a lot of that.
All right, I'm going to betray my very young age because I was really confused by something that was dropped off in the book drop, and I was trying to figure out what it was, and a older coworker had to tell me, it's like, Austin, that's a Betamax tape. Do you not know what Betamax is? And
Very
I did not know what Betamax was.
Betamax was of higher quality than VHS, you know.
Okay, so I'll go back to this list here. So a beautiful old photograph mounted on a piece of cardboard featuring 5 women and a child from the 1880s. How about historic photos? We've come across any of those?
Yeah.
Those are the ones like Laura mentioned where we seriously go back and try to find out who had
Yeah.
that book last and return that stuff because some of that's memories that you can't replace.
Yeah, I remember one not terribly long ago that there was an email or something about that was an older couple.
Yes, there actually was a photo that was returned inside a book at Lackman back when Lackman was open. And it was a couple, one dressed in a military uniform. And so we posted it on Facebook and kind of put a shout out like, does anyone recognize this couple? And after about a week, someone did see it and recognize it. And it turned out, it
Awesome.
was that person's parents-in-law. And so they are actually still alive. He was a World War II vet, and now they're living in Florida.
Oh,
That's
how interesting.
wonderful that we were able to
Amazing.
reconnect them.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Wow, that is fascinating. Some more clothes, a pair of shoes, a phone book, a book about successful puppy training, which had been chewed to ribbons by her puppy.
That is very common. That is
we
very
had
common.
that. We had that. Austin and I found it was a
It was like-
dog training DVD.
It was like the well-behaved dog or
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
the dog one.
The case was all chewed up.
I just found
dog.
another book on the shelves the other day that was chewed up, and it was a dog training book.
Oh my gosh.
Dogs. I like a dog who has a good sense of irony.
More clothes, a belt. There was a savings bond from 1943 in one book. There was some outgoing mail. Does that ever happen? People
Oh,
get
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. People use bills as their bookmark.
Oh my gosh. A live lobster.
No,
Now what now?
No.
We've not had a
you
live
can't misplace
lobster.
your lobster. How does that happen?
It was a total accident. You know.
They aren't even like beach creatures. It couldn't have crawled up from the ocean into the
Right.
book
No.
drop.
That's one impressive lobster, though.
We've
That
had food,
is a
though.
romantic dinner
Yeah.
that just went to waste right there.
Had lots of food. Like people will like drop off their rotisserie chicken by mistake when they're out doing errands, but no lobsters.
You know,
Okay.
Laura, maybe you're
Yeah.
onto something.
Yeah, I
Maybe
remember
that
that.
person
Yeah.
was such a deep library lover that was just a symbol
was
of
an
the
offering.
affection. Yeah.
That is true.
Oh, this one will tug at your heartstrings. A live kitten. It says the cute little booger. We found him a home with a patron later that day.
What?
That's nice.
Dude,
No, but not nice.
have
What
we
did they
ever
do
had
with the
any-
lobster?
Yeah.
They found the kitten at home. What about the lobster?
Yeah.
I'll adopt that lobster. I'll raise it as my
You're
own.
stuck there. Credit card,
Somebody has a happy
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. we've got-
lottery tickets,
Never
Winning?
winners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Broadway
never
show tickets.
Can you imagine if somebody returned their Hamilton tickets? Man,
That would test our integrity.
that would be ugly.
Yep.
A paycheck.
Test our integrity.
A paycheck. Oh my gosh! But back in the day when there were actually
all the
paper
time.
checks. Pressed flowers.
Yes.
Four-leaf clover. Genuine love letters.
Hot.
A list of karma violations.
Wow.
Nice. I want to know what book that
photo.
was in.
What kind of karmic violation was it to not return that?
Right?
Are we on the list now?
Oh my gosh. A visitor registration form from the county jail.
Okay.
That's unique.
Divorce agreements.
Oh, yeah.
Personal papers show up a lot.
Yeah.
We just recently had someone return all of their tax documentation in the book drop.
Really?
It was a folder full of tax return information.
Oh. There's got to be a level of confusion there.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so heartwarming Post-its, heartbreaking letters, straightforward questions. Do you ever get questions? It's like, I don't know who to ask, so I'm going to put my question into the return bin at the library.
I haven't come across that here, but when I was with Kansas City, there was a children's book that an adult had put a Post-it note with a question like about their account or something on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I only have a couple more from our national folks. So the last couple are sad confessionals. You get any confessionals? No.
Yeah,
We have
I would
lots
get-
of admission as to I accidentally spilled water on this from
we
little
get those.
kids.
Oh,
Or
my
sometimes
gosh.
you'd even get coins taped to the note saying, I'm sorry, this is overdue.
Oh.
Okay, here are our last two. New Year's resolutions.
Oops.
Got to throw them
Lost
away
those.
somewhere, right? And finally, heartwarming thank you notes to librarians to thank you
Yes.
for all you're doing. Do you ever get those in the Dropbox?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's really nice, and those are welcome.
They are.
These other things, maybe don't put those.
No lobsters, especially in Kansas. We don't want
Yeah,
the
yeah.
lobsters.
do. Seafood's always questionable.
Kittens are okay.
It
though.
really
I'd take a
is.
kitten.
We could have a library kitten.
Yeah, for sure.
If one
If
appears
only
in
there
the
was a
book drop, it
manager
was
here who
not
could approve
anybody in
that.
this room.
Right, yeah, right.
Okay, so those were the national items. In a little while, we'll come back to what our staff has sent in, but let's return to you all. Did this spark some ideas, get the memory juices flowing, and what other things have you come across here at JCL?
The Post-it notes struck a chord with me because a lot of patrons leave us notes on going back to the audiobooks again, and they'll put Post-it notes on the top of the disc saying this disc is bad, you need to clean it or scratch it. It's a nice thing to let us know, but it's also a bummer because if you got the real high quality good Post-its and we try to peel that Post-it note off, it peels the top of that disc off, and that's where all the data is and all the beautiful voice of Johnny Depp reading you that audiobook, and that therefore ruins the audiobook.
Oh, so advice to patrons might be,
Write
if you're
it on
going
a
to
piece
use
of paper.
or if you're going to use a Post-it,
Put it on the case,
it on
not
the
on
case,
the disc, and
not
give us
the
the numbers
disc.
of the discs. Yeah.
yeah, never damage the disc. Never
If you want to see
damage
circulation
the
staff
disc.
cry, watch him peel a Post-it note off a $120 audiobook.
Oh man, that would be
Yeah.
a sad scene. I've seen lots of Post-it notes stuck to books with reviews. Like my all-time favorite was, this book was garbage and such a waste of my time. I can't believe that I did this to myself. Thank you.
So what else has been returned to our return bins at our branches?
So I've gotten a lot of bookmarks returned in books, and some of them have been really nice and fancy and ornate, and others have just been slips of paper. But this one that I got that I still have hanging in my office said, "Hi, friend, you are very special." And it just went on in this whole long paragraph about how great of a person I was, with some drawings of some smiley faces and some rainbows. So I kept that. It made me feel good.
I found my own bookmark because it was my daughter, and I saw it sitting in the bookmark bin. I'm like, did I turn that in? Did my daughter turn that in? And I didn't know. And why is all my staff staring at my kids and not telling me that there's a bookmark with my kids on it?
I thought you put it there.
Probably oh, Chris wants to see his family wherever he goes.
Maybe they thought you were trying to return your kids, and that was the down payment.
Well, I do have twins, so I always say I can lose one and I'm still good. So.
That's a good point.
What about you, Laura? You have any? Oh,
What about you, Austin?
I do have some.
Gosh, I'm trying to, I don't really remember any of the touching bookmarks, but I remember we got a note from someone saying that this was the worst book they had ever read.
I like
and
those.
they wanted more by that author.
One of the cooler ones I got was it was a couple of mystery books that had been out of the collection for a while. They must have been taken because there was no patron checkout record. And so I was about to take them back to our technical services department so they can put it back in the collection and back in the catalog until I flipped through the pages. And then all of a sudden I had a Shawshank Redemption reference where Andy Dufresne had cut out in the Bible where he hid his pickaxe. Sure enough, there was a couple secret pockets in these mystery books. And I was like, well, we can't put this back in the collection because half the book is missing, but there wasn't anything cool in them, which was disappointing.
Yeah, if we were going to put them back on the shelf, we would at least have to put like a sticker in.
What was it shaped like? What do you think was in there?
It was just a big square, so it could have been anything.
Could have been anything.
Wallet money.
Bombs.
Let's hope not.
Okay.
Any other items?
Have we gotten food in any books?
Oh, so much food.
Yeah, that's
I
what
remember
thought.
a
Don't put
brouhaha
food,
about a
yeah.
bean.
Oh, yeah, bean.
There's a patron that was using a dried pinto bean as a bookmark because they found it in the bookmark and it wasn't soft and squishy. It was hard and crunchy, so it wouldn't get smashed. But
Yeah.
why using a
Weird.
bean? I don't know.
My theory is it was a baking book, so they might have been using it to blind bake some pie crusts, which is something I learned from the Great British Baking Show.
Good call. Good
There
call.
you go.
Yeah, maybe it just jumped out of the pie shell.
Maybe.
There's a story that's floated through the years with food, and we don't know if it was a ham that was returned. You mentioned a chicken earlier. It might have been something, but we think a patron got confused with what they were buying for Thanksgiving, and they, instead of turning in a bag of books, they turned in whatever food item it was. It was either ham or turkey or something.
Oh, no.
And over the holiday, we don't check because nobody's here because we're enjoying time with family and friends. So it sat for 3 or 4 days. And the patron was trying to call the library, and we were getting tons of voicemails when we came in the next day, and that book stunk. That book drop was nasty. It was smelling. We ended up throwing out all the books that are around it because you can't get that smell out once it's in there. And of course, we didn't charge anybody for it because what happens. It's like, it was a mess. But
Well, and the punishment of having to eat an Agatha Christie novel for Thanksgiving dinner was probably all the punishment.
Yes,
we
that's
deserved.
right.
Yeah, so
Happy Thanksgiving,
Right.
everybody.
Wow, that's a bad one.
I did have somebody return a book, or at least I heard somebody return a book with a bag of unpopped microwave popcorn as a bookmark.
Really?
It's like an offering.
Yeah.
right, yeah.
I'm glad that book wasn't too steamy, otherwise it would have popped. You brought me on here on purpose.
That was exactly
All
why.
for that.
Well, so we had an episode a while back that talked about the different responsibilities of each of the positions here at the library. So you've got your pages, your clerks, your IS and YS folks, that's information services and youth services. You've got actual librarians. So whose responsibility is dealing with all of these items that get returned in our return bins?
It is usually the pages and the clerks who come across this stuff first. And if it's the innocent stuff and they want to try to connect with the patrons, they're the ones that are looking at patron records and trying to get in touch with them. If it's of a financial nature, then it usually gets kicked up to a supervisor, usually the assistant branch manager or branch manager at that branch, because nobody likes talking about money. And we don't like billing stuff out, but occasionally we do because we want to protect the taxpayers. We want to be good stewards of taxpayer resources. So. But it's usually the pages and clerks that get to do all the fun stuff. And so when I knew I was coming on this podcast, I had to go back up front and refresh my memory a little bit with the pages and clerks that are still up there that I worked with. So
Did they happen to
generally-
mention anything? Did you mention the topic of the podcast and they mention any items that they've come across?
there was a funny one. It involved us getting involved with the Olathe Police Department. Or not Olathe, it was the Overland Park Police Department because a patron turned in some oregano in a relaxation book. And they happened to want to call us back a couple days later and realize what had happened and would like their oregano back. And so we
I can see
said we
that.
found it in the book drop. We didn't give any patron information away, patron privacy. We just
Yeah.
gave the oregano to the Overland Park Police Department. They disposed of it as they should. And we
But
put the book back on
oregano's
the
not
shelf.
The
illegal. I
relaxation book.
don't
Right,
understand.
Yeah. So that was the
Seems
funny
innocent
one that
enough
I
to
totally
me.
spaced out about, but I remember when Ruthie, one of our cooks up front, mentioned, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that one.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
That would really snap you out of your relaxed state right there.
Yeah. Well, so all of these pages and clerks, we did send out an email to them, and they sent a list of all kinds of really interesting items that they've come across. In addition to just listing those items, they sent some attachments of photos and scans of just wonderful things. Like there's a drawing by a kid, and you wonder what the context is, because it's a drawing of a person, probably from a book that they read, and it says, "I shall have all the beans." I think that's what it says.
We need to get that kid together with the Pinto Bean bookmark
Yeah,
person.
right.
They'd be friends.
Maybe it's one and the same.
It could be.
That same family. Well, what we will do is make sure to put all of those images onto the website and on Facebook so that you can peruse them.
I can't wait to see these.
Right.
And unfortunately, I don't think we have time to go through the list of the items that folks have emailed in, so we'll put that online as well.
I think that's a great
Sounds
idea.
good.
Awesome.
I want to thank you all so much for coming today. And if you come across anything else, or if you hear of anything else, please share it with us, and we would love to share it with our audience.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Thanks a lot, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Did we miss a question you wish we would have asked? Do you have thoughts or stories about today's topic? Share them with us on Facebook, facebook.com/Joko Library.
And now, our writer's quote of the day.
Hello, this is Dennis Ross in Central Youth Services, and this quote is attributed to Lemony Snicket. It's likely I will die next to a pile of things I was meaning to read.
We leave you with sounds from one of our locations. It's your audio minute we call Library Zen.
For more episodes of Did You Hear, go to the Johnson County Library website, jocolibrary.org/didyouhear.